He's Kent State head coach Todd Starkey. Todd, great to see you. Can't believe basketball is already back in the swing. We're in the mix already. But before we get to this season, I have to take a moment once again to congratulate you on the MAC tournament title from a season ago. First since 2002, of course, a berth in the NCAA tournament as well. How would you sum up what that experience was like, but also what it meant to you and this program?
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, obviously, as a coach, thank you, but it's great as a coach. You make plans and try and refine how you do things to develop your team so that they peak at the right time, and everything just seemed to come together perfectly for us at the right time this past year. Everybody playing their best, everybody healthy at the same time, and it was a great run for us. I mean, it was a lot of fun for our fans. Was great to see the look on our players' faces as we were going through the tournament. And I tell you what, to be honest with you, I feel like I did less coaching at the end of the year than any other time. They just kind of took it and ran with it, and it really felt like we were a player-led team at the end of the year, which is typically always the best. So it was great for us, and as coaches, of course. We may not say it, but it's good to get some validation for all your hard work and be able to win a championship for sure.
I'm curious now, is there any pressure that you feel after achieving that goal last season to continue to produce to that level?
No, I think it actually takes the pressure off you a little bit because you've done it. You've kind of crossed that threshold. So I think any pressure that we get will be from the outside, maybe. But I think for me, the message to our team is that we're not defending anything; we're pursuing another championship. So that's kind of been our focus is really the art of pursuit again, and preparing ourselves for what faces us this year. It's a different team. We lost three key players from last year's team, and two of which are playing professionally overseas, which is great for our program. But it puts a different light on things. We have to kind of refocus and move forward towards the challenge that's ahead of us this season.
Well, one of the players that you did lose was Katie Shoemate, who was arguably one of the best players to ever come through your program. How would you describe the legacy that she left?
Yeah, I mean, quite the winding road. I mean, she was all freshman player and was honorable mention all conference as a freshman, and then battled some injuries and some things as she was moving through her career. But how that came full circle for her to be able to really have such an incredible last year here with us. The way she just kind of carried us through the tournament was an awesome thing to see. And that's somebody who just continued to get better every year and really flourished at the end when we really needed her the most. And it was an awesome thing to see, and to see how her career now is progressing, playing over in Switzerland, is great for me to see. So you always have hopes and dreams for players, and it's great to see those things come to fruition.
One of the players that you highlighted to me a few times last year in terms of the jump she was able to make was Jenna Batch, and you said that was simply given opportunity. What are your expectations for her this season?
Well, she worked really hard. I mean, it was a lot of people don't see that progression. Just like, oh, all of a sudden she's this great player. But it was really 2 years worth of preparation. She battled some things her first couple years to get to that point. She spent a lot of time in the gym. Our assistant coaches have done a great job with player development, and then she just needed the opportunity. And so it was great to see how her confidence continued to grow as she went through last season, and she, given the opportunity, she took it and ran with it, and has done an awesome job. And we're really excited to see now what she can do in her senior year.
Well, you also returned the best defensive rebounder in the MAC from last year in Bridget Dunn. She was just so dominant in that MAC tournament last year. How important is she going to be for this group?
Yeah, huge. I mean, I think both Jenna and Bridget's experience and leadership is key this year. Bridget's a player that's played, major minutes since she's been here. She's really good job of developing certain part of her game, and has grown stronger, and has a tougher mindset on the defensive side of the ball. And like you said, defensive rebounding is part of defense. And so our defense is anchored by the ability to not let teams have offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities. And so what Bridget was able to do in the tournament, and what I think will certainly carry forward, is really help us finish defensive possessions in the most important way, and that's by gaining possession. So really proud of Bridget and her progress, and she's got a lot weighing on her this year as well. So Jenna and Bridget both are really pillars for our program.
Well, you did have another pretty dominant big for a freshman in Janae Tyler, who talked about have Bridget kind of mentored her and taught her, took her under her wing. What are your expectations for her growth entering year two?
Yeah, it was great to see her progress as the year went on. Our team sometimes just like has their mouth open watching her just, get an offensive rebound put back or finish in the paint. Obviously her performance against Notre Dame under a big spotlight was huge for us as well. That type of experience is invaluable, and I think she just continues to gain confidence. I think she still has her best basketball ahead of her, so we're excited to see what she's able to do now with those starters minutes. She was kind of playing behind Michaela Morris, who gave us some great experience, and kind of tutored her a little bit along with Bridget. So it's great to see how Janae is continuing to progress, and I think she has a chance of being a really dominant player in league play.
You also lost your starting point guard last year in Corinne Hauser due to injury. What's her status heading into the season?
Yeah, status is uncertain. Obviously, how everybody comes off of those type of major surgeries, it just depends on how they continue to progress. Um, Bridget Dunn came off an ACL the year before, and she really just kind of started getting into a position where she felt comfortable and was really playing towards the end of the year. So that progression for Corinne, everybody's is a little bit different, but she's still working through that process and moving forward. But we're excited to have Corinne back at some point.
Well, as you mentioned, you lose three key players, but you do bring back a good portion of your core from last year's championship team. As you look at this group, what do you want your team's identity to be?
Yeah, I think once again, it's got to be rooted in really solid half court man defense. I mean, I think we have the ability to really shoot the basketball, but if you're relying on outside shooting every night, that's sometimes if that fails you, then you're done. So everything really has to start with our half court man defense. I think we're a rigid defensive group. We're a good team defending group. Sometimes we don't have necessarily the defensive player in the year in the league, but our team is always good defensively, and so that's kind of our cornerstone. And then I think we have the ability to score in a lot of different areas this year, and so we'll look to really enhance certain people's roles with those three players graduating. And I think we've got some players that some people are going to be surprised by, some names they maybe haven't heard as much, but we're on the roster that are going to have bigger roles this year and really help us towards hopefully pursuing a championship.
Well, Coach, before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the conference as a whole. When your team won the tournament last year, there was still a lot of talk. Would we see another MAC team in? Would Toledo get in? Would Ball State get in? Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But as someone who's been a coach in this league for some time now, how would you describe the caliber of play in this conference and the competition that you see on a nightly basis?
Yeah, well, the top end of this league, this is my ninth year. The top end of this league can compete with anybody. We've proven that we can beat Power Five teams, nationally ranked teams at times, and I'm excited to see what last year maybe some of the newer coaches and the newer programs that we're kind of building. Excited to see kind of how they progress now in year two or year three of their programs. The conference obviously is so tough. It's a grueling conference schedule. Everybody says that, right? But it's true. Like there's no off nights in the league. You have to show up ready to play everywhere you go. The coaching is exceptional, and just excited for the challenge of what MAC play is going to bring this year, and what version of MACtion there is in conference play this year.
Well, Coach Starkey, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Go Flashes.
Joining me now from Kent State is Jenna Batch. Jenna, thank you so much for taking the time. Before we start talking about this season, I do want to recap last season's ending for a second. Your team, so special, making a run through the MAC tournament, winning that title, and going to the NCAA tournament. What was that experience like for you? And what does that say about the program that's being built at Kent State?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really amazing, especially since that's something that hadn't been done in 20 some years. So to be able to do that for not only our team and our fans, but also for our alumni who have built that foundation for this program was really special. And I think it shows how much of a winning culture we're starting to develop and how much hard work we've put in, and it's starting to pay off.
You guys did lose three key players in the offseason, but this team returns much of what was the MAC champion team. How much has that continuity and experience shown through these early days of practice and even maybe in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we did lose a lot, but I'm very confident in what we have coming back, and we've also gained some very good players and some transfers, and so I'm really excited to see, and I don't think that we'll fall off really at all. I know people think that we will, but I have high expectations for this team, and I think we'll be just fine.
If you could describe what Kent State's identity is going to be this season, what would that be?
I think just playing how we know how to play. I think everybody else thinks that all the pressure is on us and, it's on us to win again because we won before. But I think as long as we just focus on ourselves and play the basketball we know how to play, we'll be fine.
Coach has talked even last season about how much you learned from some of the older players throughout your career at Kent State. As a senior, one that coach is going to look to for leadership, what have you taken away from some of those experiences as a younger player that you're going to use now as one that those younger players look up to?
I think the biggest thing for me is that at this point in my fourth year, I know what I'm doing and I have myself figured out, but it's bringing along the younger players and even the new players who don't really know our schemes and our concepts yet and bringing them along with me.
Last year, you made an incredible jump. The statistics showed in just about every single category. Coach said you just took those opportunities and ran with them. When you step on the floor, where do you look to make the most impact?
I try to focus defensively because I know that the offense is going to come throughout the game, but defense is something that is all effort based. So I try to start there and really focus on defensive stops and rebounding. And last year I was oftentimes guarding the other team's best player. So that was a huge focus for me, was just stopping them or keeping them under control. And then I knew that the offense would kind of follow after that.
This season, your team comes in with a little bit of a target on your backs for the first time in a while. Does that change anything?
It doesn't, no, and we've talked all summer and even in past years that pressure is a privilege. So I think that target on our backs is something that we need to not be afraid of, but rather something we need to attack.
As you head into this season, what are some of your team goals and maybe some individual goals as the year gets going?
Team goals really every year is to win the MAC. Hopefully this year I'd say the goal is to win it in the regular season, not just in the tournament. Obviously, winning it in the tournament is extremely amazing because you get to go to the NCAA tournament and everything, but I think winning the conference as well would be amazing. And then individual goals, really just, I don't like putting a certain number on things or anything like that because that kind of stresses me out more, but just to help the team in any way I can and just help lead the team to hopefully another MAC championship.
All right, Jenna, before we let you go, we're going to do some quick rapid fire questions just to get to know you a little better. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, Jenna, what is your favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite place to go on vacation?
Wisconsin, actually. That's where my mom's side of the family is, and my Oma lives on a farm, and that's really fun to go to.
Awesome. Song you can't get out of your head right now.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a song in my head now.
No one on the playlist. That's okay. Once the season gets going, I'm sure you guys have some music that you'll be jamming out
Yeah,
to.
usually some of the girls are singing before practice, and then that'll get stuck in my head all day, and then it'll be a new one tomorrow. So,
Yeah, here we go. Dream job outside of basketball.
pediatric occupational therapist.
Wow. Favorite color.
Blue.
Hidden talent.
I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
That's impressive. Favorite movie.
The greatest showman.
If I'm visiting campus, where's one place that I need to go?
You definitely got to go downtown, maybe to like Ray's or Panini's and get some food and hang out.
Okay. Outside of Penn State, what's the hardest place to play in the MAC?
I'd say definitely Toledo. They always have a crazy crowd and it's always packed in there and they get really loud in their student section and their whatever their blue crew is or that's a tough environment to play in.
All right. And finally, one word to describe this year's team.
Resilient.
I love it. Jenna Batch, thank you so much for taking the time. Basketball is here already. We're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yep, thank you.